Um, we've done it. We a few months ago, like 2 episodes ago, we were like counting down how many episodes it would take, or where we would be at episode 100,
Mm-hmm.
or where would we be at your birthday episode. We set it up well by taking these breaks. That now next week will be your birthday week, and you get to pick the movie for your birthday.
It was very well planned. I
No,
think that was all planned and no problems, and that was all intended.
um, great. But this week we're doing my movie,
Mm, a happy one.
Wind River. But before we get into that, uh, what's going on?
What's going on with me? Nothing too exciting. I do know that my friend Josh, he went on a camping trip recently. Where did he go?
Um, we went camping on Main Island.
Oh, okay. Is that the first time you had ever been there?
Yes.
What was it like?
It was. Have you been to many, if any, of the Gulf Islands?
I've
Well,
been
the
to
Southern Gulf Islands.
I've been to Salt Spring Island many, many times. That's the
So
only one.
Salt Spring is like the the big one.
Mm,
When you're on Salt Spring, you don't really feel like you're on a Gulf Island. It's more like you're in like Souk, like small town Vancouver Island. Um, this definitely feels like you're on a Gulf Island. You're on a smaller landmass.
mm-hmm. You can tell. You can look around and tell you're on an island.
Yeah, so we went camping, Main Island for uh, 3 days. We were on, when you go on a ferry
Mm-hmm.
to or from Vancouver, and you go through Active Pass.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we were kind of our campsite was looking on to Active Pass,
Okay.
so beautiful. We saw many different smaller islands. We were across from Galliano, another Gulf island,
Mm-hmm.
but we were also on the ferry path. And there are many ferries that go through Active Pass um, between 5:40 a.m. and 10 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
And in order to go through Active Pass, or at least the part of the Active Pass that we were staying on, you have to blow your horn
Yes, it
because it's
is.
very narrow. So, and because there's a lot of like other boats, so the ferry captain has to let everybody know, hey, I'm coming through.
Yeah, and they let all the passengers know, hey, this thing's going to be really loud. If you're out on the deck, just watch your ears. So I can only
Yeah.
imagine what that'll be like if you're outside, say, quite nearby one.
Well, okay, so there's a ferry every 2 hours, going both directions. So, and you have to do it. You have to blow your horn at the beginning of Active Pass, and then at the end of Active. Well, maybe at the end. Well, at least one time you're going through. So, but there's boats going in both directions. So that's two an hour basically.
Yeah.
But that's just Vancouver, Victoria. But there's also boats going into Main Island from Swartz Bay as well as from Tawasin, because both both ferry ports go into Main Island.
Yeah.
So that's another, two boats every 2 or 3 hours.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so there's a lot of horns, a lot
A
of
lot of
horns.
horns and honking. So that was
Yeah,
probably a bit of a negative.
it started at 5:40 a.m.
Yeah, that's not
Um,
ideal. That's a way to wake up.
yeah, but no, it was very good, very nice. We had the whole campsite tour because we went Thursday, Friday, Saturday,
Yeah.
and so Thursday night we had the whole campsite to ourselves basically,
Yeah.
and then the families came. So one 9 out of 10 day, and then we had like one maybe 6 out of 10 day,
Right.
and then we went home.
Screaming children don't help the camping experience. So it's just you and your partner. No friends or anything.
No friends. This is our first solo camping adventure,
Oh.
and it went pretty well.
What kind of stuff did you get up to during, like, what's there to do? Are there hikes or anything like that, or you just kind of
Um,
relax?
we did a whole drive of the island. It's not a very big island,
Mm-hmm.
but there are like a lot of beaches, a lot of lookouts,
Yeah.
like smaller hikes to lookouts. There's a disc golf,
Ooh.
Japanese garden,
Mm-hmm.
some nice shops.
I was gonna say there must be like one little town or whatever.
Yes, yeah. It's a very. I would recommend Main Island,
Did they
all
have
the Gulf Islands.
Did they have a
There's
thrift
one
store?
thrift. There's one thrift shop.
Ooh. All
I
right,
did not
man.
go in.
Oh, what?
No, I'm not. I'm not you.
Okay. Well, I mean, sign me up. Is there a beach that perhaps like you could paddle a canoe up to and just sort of, you know, park your canoe on it?
100%.
Okay.
There was like a little beach ocean area that was got inactive pass beside our campsite that you could look out. You could definitely paddle up to that.
I wonder what the rules are for like paddling in active pass. Just
There
like
were
get.
there were a lot of jet skis,
Uh-huh.
um, and there were boats. I don't know about paddling, but it was definitely active.
Well, they don't call it that for no reason. Now, I guess that's not really. It's pretty short ferry ride, I'd have to assume, right? If it's in active pass, that only takes 20 minutes for the ferry to get there or something like that.
From Swartz Bay, it was 55 minutes,
Oh, well, that's a lot longer than I thought. Okay.
and then because they stopped at you stop at one island going over,
Oh.
and then you stop at two or three different islands coming back. So it was like a little over 2 hours getting home.
Oh wow. Okay. Interesting. I'll have to do that sometime. That sounds cool.
Yes.
Well, I love that for you.
Yes.
I love that for you. I got my fill of camping from the Yukon. That was quite.
Right.
So it wasn't. I guess it wasn't like tent camping. It's camping in the car. So I don't know if you really want to call that camping, but
We do. We car camp
oh,
sometimes.
okay.
It's nice.
What do you have, like a little mattress? You put the seats down and put a mattress down there, or what?
We bought a mattress topper,
Mm-hmm.
but like a really kind of it's not spongy, but it has some oomph in it.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just like a thin. It's a pretty thick mattress topper, and then we just put as many blankets on the bottom as possible, and it works pretty well.
Okay. Sweet. That sounds very nice.
Yeah. Do you still not watch television?
I still do not watch television. I mean, I do. I'm watching Better Call Saul right now, finishing that. I got like 2 episodes left of the entire series. I'm a little late to the show on that one, but I guess you could call that watching a show.
I think I watched up to the last season. I didn't watch the last season.
It hasn't been my favorite season so far, but I mean, I've gotten this far. I may as well finish.
Did you watch Fallout?
No,
Have you played Fallout?
I have not played Fallout, although I do understand the premise. And I've seen like gameplay, but I have not myself played. No.
So we watched Fallout. This was not recently, like when it came out. We watched it
Yep.
pretty quickly, and then I have Fallout 3 and Fallout 4 from years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been playing Fallout 4 again, and that's a fun game, but it's freaky to play. It's scary.
Oh, it's a scary game.
Well, they're like ghouls, so it's
Ooh.
like they're like zombies that
Mm-hmm.
come at you. They're like big mutants because it's like a wasteland, a nuclear wasteland. So there's a lot of jump scares and big monsters and scary.
This is a good game though.
Yeah, it's fun. It's fun, but I can only play in like hour spurts because my heartbeat.
Right, you got to keep that heart rate down. You don't want to give yourself a heart attack.
So I play it in the morning, getting ready for work.
Lately, I've been tempted to play through some of the Halo games. I haven't done it, but it's been on my mind. Every once in a while, there's some good games good enough from back in the day that you can go back and play again. It's
Yeah.
definitely one of them. Today on the radio, actually, speaking of which, I heard a song that was in like NHL 16, I think, or something. So every time I
Okay.
hear one of those songs, it makes me think of all the times we used to play NHL.
Yeah, I have been reminiscing recently. There was a reference to Antiques Roadshow in something,
Yep.
and then it made me tell Megan a story of how every Monday night, we come back from paddling, go to 7-Eleven, come back and watch Antiques Roadshow,
100%.
play a game of NHL, and go to bed.
Those were the days.
Somebody would punch a table, and that's that.
Yeah, that might happen here or there. I still don't remember what we ate, though. I don't think we ever ate any food.
Yeah, not a whole lot of kitchen memories.
No, not really. Not really at all.
So that was over 10 years ago now,
Yeah.
and like we've changed so much in those 10 years. We've grown up. We're adults who cook dinner.
Yeah. We make real food. We eat real food. We do real adult things.
Except whenever I ask you what you've eaten, it's normally not, much different.
Right.
A can of beans or whatever.
Sometimes I do. We'll still do Annie's here or there.
Yeah.
That's usually our go-to sort of degenerate dinner.
Well, it's not though because it's a fancy
That's
craft
true.
dinner.
It's not craft dinner. It's Annie's, so it's a little bit higher brow, if you
So I'll
will.
pay $4 a box for it.
Yeah. Well, if you get it on sale certain places, it's like less than $2.
So you had Annie's tonight, is what you're saying?
No, tonight we made some rice and some eggs, fried eggs on rice, sort of thing.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
And then I went for a little paddle, came back, had a peanut butter jelly sandwich.
That was my lunch.
There you go. Like the good old days.
I only eat peanut butter and jam sandwiches at work, and I guess it's bad though because I eat it in the car, and what if somebody uses it after me is allergic to peanuts?
Right.
So that's kind of a thing we don't tell people about.
Okay, I will not mention that.
We are live on YouTube. So do you have any birthday plans, or should we get into this next week?
Birthday plans. Not currently.
Hmm.
No. I try to keep the birthday things pretty low key.
Right.
We shall see. But yeah, currently no plans. Maybe go out to my favorite restaurant.
Because it's on a Wednesday. It's on a Wednesday next week.
Right, smack dab in the middle of the week.
Are we doing these on Wednesdays now or forever?
No, I wouldn't say necessarily. Just like it just so happens the last couple times had to be on Monday. I mean, sorry, on Wednesday opposed to Monday.
Because if we do it next week on Wednesday, then it's your birthday.
It'd be on my birthday. My guess is that I probably will be doing something that evening. So we'll have to discuss that. I'll have to figure out what the heck I'm doing, but
no pressure.
No pressure. We'll cross that bridge when we get there.
Okay. Before we get into this, finally, I'm going to tell you. I'm going to give you one piece of information. I'm going to give you and everybody listening one piece of information that might come in handy later on, or if you watch the movie Wind River.
Okay.
It's not possible to freeze the lungs by running, even in extreme cold. Air gets heated by the nose and throat before it reaches the lungs, and the lungs themselves are continually heated by the circulating blood. You die from hypothermia long before the lungs could freeze.
Okay. That is pertinent. Teaches me a little something about this film we've watched.
Yeah, so this movie, Wind River, comes from the head and the heart of Taylor Sheridan, who has done such other movies like Sicario. You seen Sicario?
No.
I've heard good things. And Hell or High Water. I think it was nominated. I think maybe both of them were nominated for Oscars.
Mm-hmm.
I know Hell or High Water was for sure. Haven't seen it. Chris Pine, cowboy probably. He's a big cowboy guy.
Yes, I looked him up, and every picture of him he had a cowboy hat on.
Because he's also the Yellowstone guy.
That's a show that I've heard of.
Yeah, very successful show. And if you've seen Yellowstone, I was going to call it Yellow Jackets, Yellowstone, then you've seen at least one or at least two of the actors who have been in this movie.
Okay.
And that is the father of Natalie and Natalie herself.
The father of Natalie and Natalie herself. Okay.
So Natalie, the girl who died, and the father who, at the end of the movie, had his death face on, and they had that nice conversation.
Right.
We've also seen, she's only in it briefly, but the mom of Natalie. No, was it the mom of Natalie?
Mom of Emily. You talking about Jeremy Renner's ex-wife?
No, I'm talking about the woman who gave Elizabeth Olsen the winter clothes.
Yep.
Tantoo Cardinal, who was in Smoke Signals.
Right.
I don't know actually if his name's Gil Birmingham, the dad. He's also in the Twilight movies. He's the dad of Jacob in the Twilight movies. I don't know if he was also in Smoke Signals.
That I don't know.
A little look up showed no, he was not.
Okay, well, that's all it takes. Quick little Googles, find that information out.
Before you start talking about how much you liked or disliked the movie, they're making a Wind River 2, and he's in it. But
Wind River
not
2.
in it. Well, it's not called. It's called the Wind River: The Next Chapter. I don't know. It's not Taylor Sheridan. It's just some other dude doing it.
Okay. One person I know that was in this movie, he plays the police chief of the Wind River. Yes, he has been in a lot of things that I recognize, but most notably Dudley the Dragon. You ever watch that show?
Yes.
I think he played the tree or something, if I'm remembering correctly. Yep.
Yeah, he's Canadian.
He is Canadian. Yes, he was in Canadian things.
Graham Greene.
Yeah, he was in the Red Green Show too. Used to watch that a lot.
Yeah, and then the bad guy. Well, not the bad guy, but like the leader of the bad guys, the leader, the bald cop guy with the weird voice who got shot at the end.
Yes.
By Jeremy Renner. He's in a lot of stuff too. Also Canadian. I think he's been in something that we've seen on the podcast. John Bernthal in this for no time at all.
That's too bad because I like him.
Yeah. Beaten to death. Hugh Dillon.
Someone backing up a squeaky truck in there, or what was going on there?
No, I think it's a smoke alarm. From a building that's not ours.
Okay.
I'm just looking up the dude. Is he in a movie that did we watch Trailer Park Boys the movie on the podcast?
No.
Then no, maybe he hasn't been in anything. Oh well. Anyways, Wind River. 20 minutes into the podcast. How do you like it?
It's a bit of a pretty depressing one. Yeah. So that part maybe I didn't enjoy a ton. And I don't know, I had my problems with it. Let's put it that way. I did like some aspects of it, but I definitely didn't like some other aspects of it. You know what I heard when I mentioned this movie to somebody? They said, "Oh, this is the movie that people like boycotted because I guess it was the executive producer was Harvey Weinstein, and this was like at the height of like when things were coming out about him."
Yeah. So this movie was originally coming out through his company, and then it just coincided with his fall.
Yeah,
So then they switched it. I don't know,
yeah.
at some point. So yeah, fair.
But yeah, like it touches on obviously a tough subject, especially like with the missing indigenous women, which is like a thing that was pretty um it was like a big topic that was going on here in Canada too, like the Highway of Tears and all that. Um so yeah, that's like a difficult subject of, I guess, maybe to put to film to talk about. Um I just kind of wish that there was a better film surrounding that subject. Just in terms of I didn't like a lot of the acting and how some of it like became an action movie in some parts, which was kind of a weird choice. And I don't know, it was a kind of a weird movie in that sense.
Yeah, I didn't really know what it was about. I just knew that it, was well received. Um, but yeah, it's it felt very rigid. It started,
Yeah.
and then she shows up, and then it was kind of over pretty quick. Like the movie didn't seem all that long. It seemed like it didn't really have like it had a story, but it just kind of not a whole lot of not a whole lot of stuff happened.
No. And you're right, it was very rigid. That's a good way to put it. And I felt like the acting was very rigid, especially Elizabeth Olsen. I hated her character. She just felt like very flat. And like I think maybe they were trying to go for like a strong female lead. I mean, she wasn't the lead. I guess probably Jeremy Renner was the lead, but I guess maybe she was the co-lead. But I don't know. She wasn't really all that strong. She just kind of like she depended on too many people, I found.
Yeah, no, I agree. The plot too. Just thinking about it, looking back, it because when she when they went to the drilling place, like,
Yeah.
and then she got shot. Spoilers. Um, then all of a sudden, like he like that was like the climax of the movie. It didn't feel like it should have been the climax of the movie. It felt like there should have been more steps
You're right.
to
Yeah.
like all of a sudden it was over. Then okay, and they had that conversation at the end and credits. Like okay, sure.
Yeah, it definitely feels like that would be something that happens like with half an hour left in the film rather than like 10 minutes or whatever. And just kind of like popped up and felt sudden, sort of, you know?
Yeah, there's like that should have been you go and like they get away and then you have like like you said half an hour to chase them down and then that would have felt better but then it was over.
Yeah, and I thought there was some weird that whole scene. I did not like that scene really at all. And I found it strange too. Like everyone was shooting each other, and then Jeremy Renner comes and saves the day or whatever. But he never at any point do you see him go to check on like his friends. Like the police chief and some of the other officers or anything like that. He just goes straight to Elizabeth Olsen, and we don't even get to see if any of those people are okay. Like maybe some of them are fine. I don't know. It was kind of weird.
Like he's selfish.
Yeah, maybe, but it just felt like it would just started just taking. I don't know. It shifted what the story was about onto just like what was going on between Elizabeth Olsen and Jeremy Renner's characters. It's like, now that's what we should be caring about. But I don't know. It was weird.
How do you like the flashback?
The flashback? Oh, like when John Bernthal was in it? You mean that?
Yeah, yeah.
I liked that scene. I mean, I thought that was pretty well done. It was tense, and I also like how they transition to it when she knocks on the trailer door like in now, and then when it opens up, it's like in the past. That was kind of cool.
Yes, but as like the only flashback scene in the movie, maybe I found that a little like too convenient. Like they just kind of explained everything.
Yeah, that is a good point. It did feel like the last like 15 minutes of this movie, they were in a rush all of a sudden.
Yeah.
So let's get the flashback and tie up all the loose ends and make this a nice little neat story at the end. And yeah, and it seemed to me that when he was chasing down that last guy, like up the mountain or whatever, and he leaves him without his shoes and all that, that I thought we were going to learn something about what happened to his daughter, Emily. Like this guy that he has tracked up this mountain would have known some information or something.
Right.
But that never ended up happening. It's not that I needed to know what happened, but I thought that's what was coming.
Yeah. I mean, I like that it was kind of like it was connected. The two were connected, but not connected. Like we didn't have to know everything about Jeremy Renner's daughter's death.
Yep.
Even though he did explain it he kind of explained it to Elizabeth Olsen pretty easily. He barely knows her.
Yeah.
But maybe he's a little crush on her. I don't know.
Yes.
I did like the scene where he did have the guy barefoot. I thought that was a good scene.
Yeah. Yeah, it was good. I just wish it was. I mean, I think the important part of this film is like bringing attention to the whole missing Indigenous women thing. Like, there's no statistics about it. I mean, they even mentioned it at the very end, like in how some movies do that. They write some like there's words on the screen at the end. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then it felt like they put that in the end, even though the last 20 minutes was really about what was going on between, again, Jeremy Renner and Elizabeth Olsen. And I think they were like, oh shoot, we're kind of getting away from what the message of this film is. Let's quickly go back to that. I don't know. It just felt like kind of all over the place and sort of trying to spread itself over too many things without being as focused as it should be. I don't know if that makes any sense.
It makes perfect sense.
Yeah. So I don't know. I did have quite a hard time with the acting in this movie. I thought a lot of it was pretty bad. Especially like the when they go to that trailer and all like the drug users that were like, there was like a bit of a shootout with I forget their names.
Yeah. Oh, I forgot that even happened. It was like Natalie's brother. And,
yeah, like the Little Feather House or whatever they called it, I just didn't think. Yeah, I didn't think that was particularly well done. And yeah, I don't know. I just found there was like a lot of times the acting was very distracting. Maybe some of these guys aren't normally actors or something.
Yeah. Saying that though, I didn't hate the movie.
No. I also didn't hate the movie. No, I did not hate it. I had my issues with it, and I did like. I don't usually do this, but I went onto Letterboxd and like read some of the reviews after I had finished watching it, and like this thing gets quite high praise, and I don't know, like a lot of the praise is like, oh, this is like a really good message, and it opened my eyes to a subject I didn't even know about, and things like that. But when you look at some of the bad reviews, it kind of hits the same things that I was thinking, like sort of poor acting, and it's like, okay, is this just a movie about a couple of the Avengers? Like it's weird.
Yeah. Um,
I sort of side with the people who had it took issue with it. I do appreciate some of the things about it, but there were some issues.
they were criticized for casting non-native actors in some of the Native American roles.
Oh, did they really? I did
Yeah,
not
but
know that.
I don't know who would have been.
Oh, I see. Yeah. Yeah, there's a couple. I'm looking at the cast list and you click on a couple people and you realize, that they're not. Which makes sense. That they were criticized, I mean.
Right. Okay. Well, I'm glad it was a polarizing movie, a movie with lots to talk about. I'm sorry it was so dark.
Yes, thank you for that.
It's 2 dark movies in a row.
I can't even remember the movie we watched before this.
We watched Carnival of Souls.
Oh, right.
It's, dark because it was in black and white.
I see.
I did find a YouTube video afterwards that was colorized, which I think I put in the YouTube video for. I cut a YouTube video for us.
Mm-hmm.
I think I put a colored, but whatever, doesn't matter. Wind River. Any final thoughts?
I liked the music, the soundtrack. I thought it did well for setting the tone.
Do you know who Nick Cave is?
Yeah, Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds.
Yeah,
I've heard of that. Yep, heard of him.
He was born and raised in Victoria.
Okay.
Australia.
Okay. Okay. And
So
did he do the soundtrack, or is this just a completely random fact?
Music by Nick Cave.
Okay. Gotcha.
Also Warren Ellis, but he's a member of Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds. So.
Well, there you go.
Also Australian.
Victoria, Australia.
Okay. Well, if you want to get acting score out of the way, be my guest.
Okay. Yes. I didn't love the acting. A lot of the moments where actors were supposed to be, emotional. I don't think they really landed. Especially Elizabeth Olsen. Like, there were scenes where she was crying. I'm like, this is like so fake. I don't really, wasn't working for me. I think just in general, I found the acting very distracting. I'd give it a 4 out of 10. I like Jeremy Renner though, but yeah.
You liked Jeremy Renner?
Yeah, I liked his performance.
I don't know if I watched a lot of Jeremy Renner things, but he doesn't give a lot of performance. He just kind of like he's like a wall every time. And he played a wall. So I'm gonna go track some footprints in the snow. And that was in the whole movie. Everybody wasn't bad. Normally it's the main characters who are good, and then we're like, oh, everybody else kind of let the movie down, but the main people were bad, and then the bit parters were not bad. So I'm gonna give it a 5 a 5 out of 10.
5 out of 10. Okay.
5 out of 10. Yeah. For ending, I guess ending could start with like where he has the rapist on the mountain
Mm-hmm.
to the title card. That can be the ending. Which I like the ending. In by itself, like it was good, uh, fun to watch, entertaining. As part of the movie, I don't know, but him, Jeremy Renner, giving the guy the same chance that his own or that Natalie had, which didn't work out for him because his lungs exploded, even though that's apparently not a thing that happens. I thought that was great. And then he visits the dead. They have a conversation, and that, like, the way the movie ended was good in that sense. Because, like, how are they supposed to end this movie? A movie like this. So I didn't mind how it ended, um, with those two sitting and having a meaningful conversation. So I'm going to give ending a 7. A 7 out of 10.
7 out of 10. That's the score I'm going to give it also. I did like, yeah, if you say the ending is after like the whole shootout thing with the mining people, if you say it like starts after that, then yeah, I did like it. I did like how he chased him up the mountain and sort of what he did to him up there and sitting down with the father too. I liked that part. So yeah, 7.
I thought this film, I thought Wind River was based off of Alaska, but it's just like Wyoming.
Right.
It's a lot of snow. Okay, well, if you had to give a score out of 10 for Wind River 2017, Jeremy Renner, Elizabeth Olsen, what would you give it?
If I were to give this movie a score out of 10, I would give it a 6 out of 10. It was an enjoyable watch. Perhaps a little bit distracting with some of the acting performances. I liked some of the messages. I thought it might be better if they stayed a little bit more focused on certain things and not sort of feel the need to almost make it an action movie at times and sort of lose sight of what the main focus should be. That was the drawback. So yeah, I'd give it a 6.
Okay. Yeah, it was entertaining as like a procedural movie where it was almost like an episode of like a crime show where like there's a murder, go solve it.
Mm-hmm.
So you could have fit everything in 42 minutes, an hour episode of a TV show, but they expanded it, and I guess maybe it didn't work like they had intended it to. Overall, it was an entertaining piece of film. The acting kind of let it down. It did seem like the structure was off and maybe rushed a bit.
Yeah.
But, wonderful backdrop, great message. I gave it a 6.5 out of 10.
Almost the same.
Almost the same, but just a little bit better.
Yeah.
And that was Wind River. Look at us.
We did it.
So, do you have a birthday movie in mind, or do you need time to?
I've thought of a movie.
Is it an earnest movie?
It's
To
not
see,
an
like,
earnest movie.
Have a birthday or something?
Nope. Nope. It's a totally random movie. I totally did not realize that the movie would be my birthday week. Just wasn't even thinking about it. But the movie I'm picking, we're doing a 180. I may sound a little upset, but I've already made my decision. We're watching a movie called Warriors of Virtue.
Now you have picked a movie before and changed it after the fact. So
This is what I'm picking. Warriors of Virtue.
is Willem Dafoe in it?
No.
Oh, again, huh? So okay, is this the 1997 film or is this the sequel, The Return to Tao, 2002?
It's the 1997.
Okay. Hmm. Can I watch this on YouTube?
Like you can rent it on YouTube, I think. It might. Let me see if it's on Warriors of Virtue full movie. It looks like it's free on YouTube.
Okay, so explain the thought process on this one.
Some people at work, they said they used to watch this when they were kids, and so now I want to know what all the hype's about. It looks horrible. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Okay, well, it is 18% on Rotten Tomatoes, but a 4.7 out of 10 on IMDb, which is kind of more closer to how we score things. Full movie on YouTube, an hour and 42 minutes. Okay, well, at least it'll be easy to watch. I just looking at the thumbnail for this YouTube video, yeah, it gives me a lot of questions.
Yeah.
Which I look forward to it being. Jesus, it looks to being answered.
I just think it's a good way to watch a movie I might not normally watch. And now I have to because it's for the podcast. It just gives me an excuse, you know?
Sure, that right. I have 3 more movies until we hit 100, which I think I have to reassess.
Why is that?
Well, because I picked those movies like 3 months ago, so maybe
Things have changed.
I thought of a movie. I'm like, oh, this would be good for the podcast, but I've forgotten what it was, so I have to kind of think.
It'll come back to you.
It'll come back to me. I didn't write them down, but I've had a lot of postcards the last 2 weeks from France, different place in France.
Ooh.
But then you get companies in Victoria who send out postcards to remind people that their vet appointment is coming up, that their dentist appointment is coming up, and that they need to book an oil change. So you get one, you're like, oh, what is this for? And then you're like, oh, it's for Midas.
Right.
So less postcards the last few weeks, but maybe it'll ramp up with the summer season.
Could do.
I didn't buy you one on Main Island.
That's okay. I don't need one. I mean, I kind of went through the effort to get you one, but that's okay.
Yeah, well, Megan had a great idea, and that was to get you one, but only address it to Mackenzie.
That would have been funny. I think Mackenzie had a similar idea, actually. Send it just to Megan.
And that would have went over great in this house.
Yep. Oh, well, missed opportunity.
Maybe next time.
I did put a bit of humor in it by just not really saying anything. It's that postcard from the Yukon today. I thought that was clever.
Yeah, wasting your 98 cents.
Yeah.
Plus whatever it costs to buy the card.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think I'm going to keep. We'll do Warriors of Virtue, which is not a comedy.
No.
Our second straight W movie. But then we're gonna go comedy, kind of a classic comedy, the week after, and then I'm gonna have to, because I want to pick movies that are not just like your standard movie. You want to have something to talk about.
Yeah.
So I gotta find a good one. Gotta find.
100%. It's got to be the right one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, well, I probably won't change. I won't change the next movie. And then what about 99? Just talking out loud. Hello to YouTube.
Hello, YouTube. All the people listening.
Catch us next week on YouTube.
Live on YouTube.
We don't know when. The last winter. And then I don't know, we'll hit 100 and then what?
It's a great question.
I'll probably change the last winter because we just had a winter movie.
We did. Winter.
Oh, but Ron Perlman. Love a good Ron Perlman. He was just in something I watched.
America's Caveman.
He was in a Nicolas Cage movie that I watched, and I talked about it on the podcast. But he was in something else that I just watched. I'm sure. Megan's dad's coming this weekend. It's Father's Day weekend.
Yeah.
Unrelated to his visit, but he likes to watch movies, and like we watch more kind of actiony movies. When he's over, like a Henry Cavill movie, The Gentleman kind of movie.
Yep.
A lot of guns and British people.
Yep.
It's not out on anything streaming yet, but Ryan Gosling and Emily Blunt did a movie called The Fall Guy.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'll probably end up watching a cool action movie that I can talk about next week.
I think probably this week I'm gonna go see Furiosa. So talk about that one.
For nothing but bad things.
Bad things.
Jesus.
Whoops, sorry.
Well, yeah, because it didn't do so well in the box office, so people weren't saying good stuff about it. I think like Garfield beat it.
Yeah. Well, I like Mad Max Fury Road so much that I figure I got to give this a chance.
Sure. I probably should watch that movie at some point.
Yeah. Okay, well.
Oh, you're winding down.
I'm one dial? What?
You're winding down.
Yeah, winding down. I think we've hit the end of the trail. What do you think?
Yeah, maybe I'll pick like a Norwegian film. Make you read subtitles.
Okay.
The last thing I'll say is that the last 2 movies you picked will be free on YouTube. Mystery Men probably should be free on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just a lot of interesting picks from you, which I guess is fun.
I got to keep you on your toes, Josh. I can't pick the mainstream stuff all the time.
Right. I guess I'm more the mainstream guy. You're the obscure.
Although you did pick Tetsuo the Iron Man.
Yeah, maybe I'll reach. A movie that I do want to watch whenever it's available is the new Toxic Avenger.
There's a new one.
Yeah, they made a Toxic Avenger last year, but it's not available to watch. It has The dude from or has Peter Dinklage and Elijah Wood in it.
Oh,
Apparently Kevin Bacon's in it as well. But I haven't found a place to watch it, so maybe I'll look into that. Maybe that'll be a good option. They also made a Toxic Avenger musical, which
well, I
is an
think
option.
Lloyd Kaufman is just sort of milking that for all it's worth. His most well-known thing.
The Toxic Avenger, it was a 2008 rock musical.
Perfect. That's what we needed, a Toxic Avenger musical.
It was a play, I guess, that was also filmed, but I don't think Lloyd Kaufman had anything to do with it.
Oh, okay.
So that could be interesting. And won a lot of awards. Well, it was nominated for a lot of awards.
I'm sure it
kind of
was.
wild, actually. Anyways, you're going to bed.
Yeah, pretty shortly, I'd say.
By going to bed, you mean we're just going to end the podcast because anybody can listen to this at any time.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's it. I think it's time for the bedtimes. For me and perhaps people listening.
Okay, well, thank you so much. Once again, episode 93. We'll be back at some point for episode 94 as we make our way, inch our way closer to 100.
Yes.
Okay. Well, goodbye.
Okay, goodbye.